Hi everyone, welcome to the Profitable Website podcast. My name is Ella. I'm a Squarespace web designer for small business owners who want to attract more clients and make more sales through the website. And today I want to chat about a brand. So very often we think about a brand as it's just a logo and the color scheme, but in fact there is so much more to the brand. So that's why I invited an expert, a graphic designer, Lorraine Luby from Luuuby Creative, and we'll be talking about what is brand and how to make it work for your business. Lorraine, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me, Ella.
Uh, Thank you very much for accepting the invitation and for taking the time to join us today. So let's start, maybe let's introduce yourself first, maybe.
Okay, so I am Lorraine. As you said, I'm a graphic designer. I love all things branding. And that's kind of goes beyond the brand as well. So where it will also be, where it will live in the real world. And I am based at the moment outside Gorey in County Wexford.
Great. Close to me, to be honest. Wexford, Dublin, it's not far away.
No, it's lovely. Yeah. We live really close to a beach and stuff. So it's a really nice lifestyle.
Amazing. Okay, let's get to the question. So let's start with the basic. How would you describe what a brand really is?
So for me, I would say a brand is a feeling. It's
Mhm.
just a vibe that you get. So it will tell a lot about the business. So if you're thinking if it's safe, if it's professional, if it's fun, even it might indicate price points. So if
Mhm.
it's budget or if it's high end. Like an
Mhm.
example is I was looking at hotels earlier and everything from like easy hotel to like these really high end hotels.
Yeah.
And you're talking about like bright orange and just yeah, you can tell, you get a feel of a place and what to expect from the branding, I think, associated to it.
Yeah, and it's even without reading anything about the business. It's just the first
It's
impression.
a vibe.
Yeah, it's a vibe,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's a vibe.
And so I think many people confuse brand, with they are thinking about, brand just the logo and the color schemes. So what else comes?
It's it's everything that your brand touches. And I know that's really cliche, but it really is. So it comes to even how you lay out a social media post,
Mhm.
how you act on on podcasts, how you put your packaging together, how you advertise yourself, your messaging, your tagline. It expands beyond. I mean, the logo is important, but you need a really strong concept before you can start anything,
Right.
including your copy. So it's absolutely everything, but it has to be based on a really strong concept.
Yeah, that's true. And why do you think having a clear brand is so important for small business?
Well, there's so much out there at the moment, especially I would say since the pandemic.
Yeah.
There's a lot of businesses failing.
Mhm.
And you really need to stand out. And I think as well in a DIY, but I'm not mocking DIY, it definitely has a purpose. But if you do that, you need to know that in the future, if you want to continue, you probably do need to invest in actual branding because you need to make sure that every single touch point is being hit, that your clients will automatically know, and maybe it is through your color palette or your typography or your photography style, but that
Mhm.
they know it's you. Even
Mhm.
at a glance, I can tell now certain businesses without seeing their logo or even the colors because I just can tell by their messaging. And you just don't want to miss an opportunity because it's so saturated at the moment.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that if you're going to the trouble of putting something together, that people instantly recognize that it's you, and that and eventually build trust. Because they're like, oh, I've seen them before, and because people won't buy first time, it takes a few
Yeah.
times for them
Mhm.
to familiarity really.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think it's so much easier later on to market your business once you have a branding. Because as you
Yeah.
were saying, it's not only your website, it's also your social media, it's your physical location. And so it's much easier when you have this clarity around your branding
Yeah.
to be consistent across all these
It
channels.
saves time and money
Yeah.
because you don't have to think about everything. You have a template, you know how things should look. And even then as well, money wise, if you're outsourcing, then they know how it should look and they're
Yeah.
not starting from scratch. They're like, okay, well, we have the concept, we have the colors, we have the vibe. Let's put that poster together, let's put that leaflet together, whatever it might be. So it definitely saves time and money and just
Yeah. So
energy.
not every time you are thinking, okay, so what vibe it should be here?
Yeah, it's not from scratch every
Yeah.
time. And even just the energy,
Yeah.
just that thinking process doesn't have to be there every single time. And it's just, yeah, it saves a
And
lot.
also, what interesting, you said that the brand has to stand out. So how to make your brand stand out? And I think sometimes, when you're saying stand out, people are thinking about, bright colors. It has to be flashy, it has to be loud. And so how to make it, like if, for example, me, I don't like flashy colors, I don't like shouting. How to stand out with muted colors?
How to set out muted colors. Again, it comes back down to messaging. And if muted
Hmm.
colors is what you are and what
Hmm.
will attract your client, because you're probably quite similar to me in the sense of our branding is a gallery
Hmm.
because we need to showcase our clients' work.
Yes.
So we can't have bright colors
Yeah,
because it would clash with our clients.
exactly.
And I imagine you had the same thought process.
Yeah.
No, I love bright colors and vibrance and all the rest. But for my branding, I couldn't do that because it just clashed. So everything really has to have a purpose. And I think you can still stand out with muted colors as long as you commit to the muted colors and
Hmm.
you consider contrast.
Hmm.
So you will have like if you're beiges, you need to consider how that's going to look on white. So you do need to consider your contrast as well, though. But it's problem solving. Design is problem solving.
Hmm.
And it's just a problem that you would need to solve. But there's always ways around. And I love a little accent color though when you can. Even if it's just your buttons or
Yeah.
something.
It's great, for example, on the website when you have muted colors and you have this, pop-of color for the button, and
Yeah.
it looks amazing. So
Yeah.
the contrast.
Yeah.
Um, so in your experience, what makes a brand memorable? The kind of people instantly are connected to.
I think being authentic.
Hmm.
Which can take practice. I feel like people actually nearly need permission to be authentic.
Hmm.
And I have found the best conversations I have had is when I'm talking to a client and yeah, we're going through the brief and whatever, but then we start just chatting,
Yeah.
and then they let the guard down a little bit. And then what they tell me is the reason behind their business is actually different to the brief version of the reason
Hmm.
behind their business, and that's where the magic tends to happen. And I will always kind of pull a few concepts together and we'll run with one.
Hmm.
But if I can, I'll try to link that in as much as I can because that is actually their USB.
Hmm.
But they kind of, in a business sense, thought, "Oh, well, I can't say that. I can't use that." But
Yeah.
actually, no, that's who you are. That is the soul of your business. You
Hmm.
can, and let's see if we can blend this in somehow.
Yeah.
Because that's what people connect. Because people connect to stories and real people, and you know, like if your friend's telling you a story, you're invested. And I think it's the same for branding.
Yeah, that's true. And because very often I have clients who they, people are comparing their businesses and they are looking at other people' website and other people branding, right? And very often they're coming, oh, I like something like this, and it's not authentic. It's
No,
something that, they like, and but it's not them, in fact, right?
yeah,
So it's yeah, it's quite difficult to uncover what is your USP. So, for example, in my case, like I'm a web designer, Squarespace web designer, and there's loads of other web designers on the
yeah,
market, right? We have similar process, we have similar pricing, we do similar things, the similar styles. So, how to find this USP,
yeah. And I think it's just talking.
right?
Talking naturally is what you find it. Because for me, because I like that graphic designers, there's a lot of us around. But for me, I get really invested in my clients. Now I want them to survive, to do well and
Mhm.
flourish for myself as well, because it means they'll come back for more work.
Yeah.
Yay. But also I get such a sense of pride when I'm just out and I see it somewhere, or I
Mm-hmm.
see a product, or I'm at a market and I see their thing, and so I do tend to check in with most of my clients
Mm-hmm.
long after the project, and not to get work, but just to
Mm-hmm.
generally see how they are getting on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably mine, which I think is hard to translate on my own marketing, because like I don't want to sound like I'm going to be everybody's pal either.
Uh-huh.
But I think what I'm trying to get across is that I'm friendly and
Mm-hmm.
approachable and
Yeah.
non-judgmental. And
Right.
so that's my approach, because that's what I'm comfortable with. Like I'm not a, you know, speak in a networking thing and, sell. It's just not my thing. Like if I go to networking, I'll just fire a lot of questions at people, because I
Mm-hmm.
just kind of feel like it's an opportunity to get to know somebody.
Yeah.
And even if I don't get work out of it, they'll at least remember me, if nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I prefer that
And
kind of gentler approach.
and later on, just because you say that to stand out and to be memorable, you should mainly be authentic, right? But then there is a case that if somebody wants to attract people who are different, like their target group is different that they are, so how to balance that the branding will resonate with personality of the
Yeah.
business owner with the target group that they want
Yeah.
to attract? How
Yeah.
to
So
balance
this
it?
that does happen. Research, research, research. So I think if you research a target audience, which I always tell people anyway, like your logo's not for you, it's
Mhm,
for your end user, it's for your audience. So
mhm.
if your favorite color is blue, but you know that that won't work in your audience, then we're dismissing it entirely. But then they also have to like it. So I would have
Yeah.
points where there's feedback. So
Mhm.
they still need to love their logo, love their branding, buy into it, or they won't want to use it.
Yeah.
But they still need to have the target audience in mind. So we will always come back to the brief
So you
just to stay
start
on
with
track.
the target group first, and later on you checking if the business owners like it, or
Well,
where do you start?
see, I start with the brief.
Yeah.
And I pull out as much of that as I can. And then I'll just go off on different tangents. And then I'll kind of pick three different concepts that I feel are strong.
Mhm,
I normally try and do mild to wild.
mhm.
So something that I think they expect, something that they really don't expect, and something in the middle.
Right.
And they're just concepts, so it's just directions to go in.
Mhm,
And then we'll hone in on one,
mhm.
and then we'll expand that and push that one forward. But to make sure that we're not going too far away from the target audience, because the client will have opportunities for feedback throughout the way,
Mhm.
we'll always come back to the brief.
Right.
So, and I will literally quote the brief
Mhm,
in the presentation, just to remind them we are doing this because you said this in the brief.
mhm. So what
And
is
that's
in
where
the
the
brief?
research comes in.
What question do you ask in the brief? So is it, for example, how you want your business to be perceived? So they have to tell you how they want to be perceived, or it's more about what are your values of your business? What kind of question you can?
There's a mix of questions,
Mhm,
but mainly it's goals.
mhm.
So it's like, where do you want to be? Who
Right.
do you want to be selling to? What do you want your price point to be in 5 years' time?
Mhm,
How many products do you want to be launching?
mhm.
So it's more, so yes, it is values and it's background and everything else, but it would mainly be goal focused. So
And
we're
the target
focusing
group as
on
well.
that target audience, that
Yeah.
price point, that,
Yeah.
how many products, places they want to be stocked. So yeah, mainly goals, and that's what we'll keep coming back to.
Yeah.
Sometimes I
Just
need the reminder too, because sometimes I can go off on a tangent.
yeah, to be honest, it's great to have a brief that you can, because in this design process you can go, oh, I like this something, and you go in a
Yeah, no,
complete
it keeps us
different direction.
grounded, away
Yeah,
from the shiny stuff.
exactly, exactly. Just looking at my question because I have quite a few here. Um, okay, a website is one place to express your brand, but not the only one. So where else small business owners can use a brand to create the consistency and connection?
So yeah, so we kind of touched on this as well. It's just everything. It
Everything. Yeah.
is, it's even how you want to dress at presentations. So like for me, I don't wear a suit. I will wear
Mm-hmm.
a dress with big boots because
Mm-hmm.
that's who I am.
Yeah.
And then as well as that though, for the actual pieces of branding, it could be your pitch deck to try and sell your product, your website, obviously, social media, obviously, as well, and then any print materials, because
Mm-hmm.
print is still, it's still there. People still
Yeah.
need it. So yeah, it's really anything that you touch, and that's where, like, at the end of a project, people would get brand guidelines, that will also show examples of
Mm-hmm.
how you could use. It wouldn't be exact, but it gives again that vibe of this is
Mm-hmm.
how this material should look. So that would also keep people on track. But you would use it in everything. You're like your
Yeah.
business cards, your just absolutely everything. Anything in a professional setting, think about, is this still the same message that I want to be given?
So tell me, if somebody would like to work with a graphic designer to create a brand, what they will receive, what is included in the package?
It depends on what they need
Mm-hmm.
and depends on where they already are. So I would have businesses that come to me that don't even have a name.
Mm-hmm.
So we're literally, they have a product and nothing else.
Right.
And we would literally start from scratch. So we're putting together the mission, the vision statements, the taglines, the name,
Mm-hmm.
and then, but like at the very least, and so if anybody is wondering, well, what should I get? At the absolute very least, if you're speaking to your designer,
Mm-hmm.
make sure you get your primary logo. So you probably want a landscape logo
Yeah.
and then also a portrait.
Yeah.
Something that will fit really, really, really small. So you're talking about your Instagram profile and also probably a favicon. So
Mm-hmm.
something teeny, teeny,
Yeah.
tiny, very
Mm-hmm.
responsive. You want all of those things in full black, full white.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a print business, I would recommend what I call Lito black, which is
Mm-hmm.
not pure black. It's got like a little bit of red and stuff in it that gives it a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of a punch. 40, 20, 20, 100, your designer will know. And then you want everything in CMYK and RGB.
Mm-hmm.
So you
So
have
explain what is
everything.
CMYK.
So CMYK is for print.
Yeah. So it's a
And then
color, like color
yeah,
code.
yeah. So you
Mm-hmm.
want it in print for
Mm-hmm.
CMYK, and then RGB is for screen because the colors don't translate.
What about
Um,
pics? As a web
well, it
designer,
can
I
be
use
mixed with your
text.
RGB, so that's kind of um, they won't save it as that. That'll be your RGB file, but you
Right.
would get your hex code in your brand guidelines.
Right.
So yeah, so black, white, full color for print, full color for screen.
Mm-hmm.
Would
Perfect.
be the absolute minimum. And make sure you have a family, that you don't just have one little logo that you expect will fit on a top left corner and centered and, have like a little family. I would say that at the absolute bare essentials. Brand guidelines could be a page. It
Mm-hmm.
could just be a page. Or it could be multiple pages. And then obviously if someone needs like really in-depth brand strategy,
Mm-hmm.
then that's something that they could get as well. So it really is um customized to what the client needs and the product and budget and everything. But at
Yeah.
the bare minimum, make sure you have those logos.
And what about, do you do also, if client requests templates for social media or templates for business cards or templates for any flyers or
Yeah.
signs, out,
So
outdoor signs?
yeah, so for me personally, I like to work with clients afterwards. So it's kind of like a logo and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes things are organized at the time. So like
Mm-hmm.
they know I need logo and branding, and my first goal is to have packaging.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, okay, that'll put in first. And then sometimes people come back like a year or two later and say, okay, I'm now ready for,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll go and do that. So yeah, so anything where I can help them further, I will. If it's
Mm-hmm.
something that I can't physically help with myself, then I would outsource to somebody that I trust.
Mm-hmm.
So I still try and keep it within the business because
Yeah.
it saves them the legwork. And then I know as well that it's because that person I trust, if they have a question, they can just come to me and say, what is this? Or
Mm-hmm.
should I do it this way? Or I could just throw my eye over it. Oh, yeah, yeah, no, that's how I envisaged it. So we could still kind of work as a team without the client needing to deal with it.
Yeah, and what about typography and so fonts they should use? And what about the guidance with visuals? What type or vibe of visuals they should use? Because we know some they will have some their photos, they will have some photos from their photo shoot, but they will
Yeah.
also use some stock photos, of course. So do you also give a guidance around the visuals they should use?
Yeah, all that will be in brand guidelines because
Hmm.
it kind of gets developed through the process. I will have these things in mind, and often I will check to see if something works before I'll even show the client because
Hmm.
sometimes it won't.
Hmm.
And then if they are already bought into the idea, and then I realize afterwards, actually, that doesn't place on that square thing that they will need it on in the future. So I've already problem solved a lot in the background before we get to the end of the project. And therefore, then I will show those examples in the
Hmm.
brand guidelines. So everything is kind of checked in secret nearly, to make sure that it works. And like that, like the typography and yeah, typography, photography, and even just color usage, like how much to use of certain colors,
Hmm.
would all be
In
in
the
the brand guidelines.
yeah. Okay, and uh, so I think the best way is just to book a discovery call or consultation call with a brand designer and discuss what are your needs, and then probably the package will be done
Yeah,
depending or
I think often what holds people off is that they feel like they already need to have an idea.
everything. Hmm.
Yes. And I think that some of the best projects I have worked on is when people have come to me, I don't know what I'm doing. I just know what I love and I know what my
Yes,
business is, but I don't know how it should look. Often that's enough. And often as well, they have more answers in their head than they think they do.
right.
Sometimes we're like, oh, I don't know who my target audience is. And then once you start talking to them, like, there's your target audience. That's exactly who you're trying to
Yeah.
sell to. So again, it comes back down to that conversations.
Hmm.
So I would say if someone is just afraid to just start because they feel like they need all the answers, remember that you're not hiring someone to move pixels around.
Hmm.
Same with web design. You're hiring somebody to take the challenge of how do I put this together?
Yeah.
And like they will take that from you. They will problem solve that for you. It's not for you to do that. You work in your business and we will do the
Yeah.
other stuff.
And I
So
think
not to let
there
that
is
hold.
magic in a spoken word. So, for example, when you prepare the brief, it's you're trying to be like almost I don't know how to name it, but you're trying to be professional. You're trying, to be
Yeah.
write the right words. But later on, when you speak, when you like when web designer or graphic designer ask the question and you speak, so then the whole truth is coming through. Like it's not
Yeah.
the
Yeah. It's
Polish
just a,
version that you put into brief. It's more
yeah,
it's in your heart when you speak.
exactly. And honestly, that's where the USB, that's where the magic is. That's where I defined, because I'd be jotting them down. They'd be like, why is she still writing? We're just talking.
Yeah.
No reason, like highlighting it because I know that's the
Lauren,
direction we're gonna
I'm minded of the time. So the last question, I think very important for lots of listeners. If somebody is only starting a business, and of course, when you start a business, the money is tight. What they can do to start
go.
on
Okay,
their own.
so I don't recommend somebody hiring a professional until they are very sure of their business. That
Hmm.
is an investment.
Hmm.
I have absolutely no shade on Canva, no shade on DIY, none of
Hmm.
it. But it's a bit of a weird one, but I always say if you are doing it yourself to start, make it you, but make it forgettable at the same time. So when you do move on, people don't need to forget your old branding.
Hmm.
So what I would recommend is just a word mark, just a typography.
Yeah.
Choose a typography that suits your business.
Hmm.
Choose one or two colors that suits your business and just go with that. Don't go with any icons, logo marks, anything like that. Just go with, and if you're saying, oh, but what about the responsive? Then choose a letter
Hmm.
from the logo mark and use that as your little responsive, teeny tiny one.
Yeah.
But I would say just have it. to suit your personality, keep it simple, and know that you want it to be forgettable down the line,
Hmm. Yeah.
because it is a placeholder.
But at the same time, also to stay consistent. So if you pick
Yeah,
your fonts, your simple fonts, and if you pick your two colors, stay consistent across all the
yeah.
platforms as
Yeah,
well.
because you're still building that audience, and your
Yeah.
audience will move with you, but you just don't want it to make it too shocking. And I often think, I know a lot of people not in design industry, and you'll know this from websites, they're afraid to let things breathe. It's
Hmm.
always oh, but we need to throw this in, needs to be more. Whereas designers are always like, no, let's take that out, let's take that out, let's take that
Yeah.
out. We don't need that. So be comfortable in the blank space.
Yeah.
Don't try too hard,
Hmm.
and yeah, but then commit to it until you're ready to move along.
Yeah. And I think the most important, it's not to build your brand through consistency, but it's more to build a trust. When you
Yeah,
are consistent with your color, even if you have one or these two colors, but if you're consistent on all the channels, all the platforms, it just builds the trust.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, no matter what will be the touch point with the client, it's always the same color.
yeah, exactly. You're still recognizable, they still know you're there.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
even if it's just blunt. And the last question, Lorraine, we have to wrap up. So tell me, is there anything you would love to share with small business owners who are building and growing their business?
Um, I have a little bit of advice,
Hmm.
which is find a business friend
Hmm.
who you trust, but
Hmm.
not one that is your cheerleader.
Hmm.
So not someone that will always be like, "Oh my God, well done, you're great," but
Yeah.
someone that will go, "No, what are you doing? Step away from that. That's too shiny. That's not for you." Like someone that will actually keep you right.
Hmm.
Like I have one, and we're often messaging each other, and we will be like, "No, why would you do that? That's not what you were talking about last week." Be like, "No, you're right. Yeah, no, I got distracted. Thank you." So I think, and even design wise, like I have ones that I can send to, and I can say, "Does this look weird?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, it looks really weird. No, go in a different direction."
Right.
But without offending you. So I would say find a business, but someone has to be, they have to be in business as well, because otherwise they don't understand.
Hmm.
But if they, so like, yeah, so someone that you trust, who will keep you straight, but is not your cheerleader, but is in your corner, if
Great
that makes
advice.
sense.
Great advice. It's difficult to find a person like this, but it's a great advice.
They do
Hey,
exist. They do exist.
Lorraine, thank you very much for your time. We have
Thank you so much. It was
finished.
lovely.
Um, you can follow Lorraine on Instagram. It's Luuuby Creative, and it's Luuuby Luuuby Creative. And to check Lorraine website luuubycreative.ie. She is doing amazing stuff. I love all your work, Lorraine. It's amazing.
Oh,
So
thank you.
thank you very much once again for your time. And yeah, and I will leave all the contacts to Lorraine under
Super.
the in the description of the video and podcast.
Brilliant.
Okay,
Thanks, Manella. It was lovely. Thank you.
thank you very much, Lorraine.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.